Friday afternoon, the direct deposit lands. Both incomes. Combined, it is more than most households in America earn. And by Monday morning, between the mortgage, the 2 car payments, that credit card that autopays, the subscriptions, the dinner out Friday night, and the weekend trip that went on the card, the account is mostly empty again. Same story as last month, same story as the month before. Here's what nobody says out loud about this. The income was never the problem. And the income is not going to be the solution. The problem has a name, and it has nothing to do with how much is coming in. I'm Mike Miller. Sarah and I figured this out the hard way after years of making more and feeling exactly the same amount of stuck. If that Monday morning account balance sounds familiar, hit subscribe. We make one of these every week. This video is about good income with no savings and exactly why that keeps happening to couples. Here is what nobody tells couples about income. Your household is running a business. It has revenue, the money coming in, and it has a profit margin, the money you actually keep. Most couples spend their entire lives trying to grow the revenue. Almost none of them look at the margin. And that is exactly why the account looks the same every Monday morning, no matter how much the Friday deposit grows. Let me show you what this looks like in the actual data, because the numbers here are genuinely surprising. As of January 2025, nearly half of Americans earning over $100,000 a year say they live paycheck to paycheck. Half. 6 figures, paycheck to paycheck. It gets more counterintuitive. Goldman Sachs surveyed over 5,000 workers in 2025 and found that 40% of those earning over $300,000 a year say they primarily live paycheck to paycheck. That is a higher rate than those earning between $50,000 and $100,000. The two groups most likely to live paycheck to paycheck? Those earning under $50,000, where the math simply doesn't cooperate, and those earning over $300,000, a U-curve. For lower incomes, the problem is the math. There is genuinely not enough. For high incomes, the problem is the margin. There is plenty coming in, and almost none of it is being kept. Sarah and I had the same experience. We were not reckless. We were not irresponsible. But when Sarah actually sat down and calculated what our household keeps each month, after all expenses, not the big things, all the things, the number was $410. As a percentage of our take-home, that was a 5.2% profit margin. If we were running a business at that margin, no investor would touch us. Here is the thing about the income illusion. The belief that the next raise will fix it. When our income went up, the margin did not go up. The expenses found the extra money first. The margin stayed at 5%, and we felt just as stuck as before at a higher number. Because income without margin is a treadmill, not a path, and the treadmill is running right now, no matter what the deposit said on Friday. But here is what nobody talks about, because the leaking bucket problem actually has a fix that most couples have never tried. Here is the way Sarah and I started thinking about it, and it changed everything. Think about 2 buckets. One household has a small bucket, modest income, careful life, but almost no holes. The water accumulates month after month, year after year, the water level rises. The other household has a much larger bucket, more water coming in than most people will ever see, but there are holes in the sides. The car payment hole, the subscription hole, the lifestyle that scaled with everything raise hole. The we deserve this, we work hard hole, and despite the larger flow, the water level never rises. Adding more water to a leaking bucket is not the solution. The solution is the holes. Your household has a profit margin. Most couples have never calculated it. And most couples who calculate it for the first time are genuinely shocked by what they find. The good news, margin is fixable in a way that income is not. You cannot always earn more, you can almost always keep more, and the move that fixes the margin is simpler than most couples expect. There are 3 of them. The first move is calculate your margin. Before you can fix the margin, you have to know what it is. Here is the calculation. Take your combined monthly take-home, everything that actually lands in your accounts after taxes. Then subtract everything that goes out in a month, not just the big bills. Everything. The mortgage, the cars, the groceries, the subscriptions, the dinners, the random Amazon charges, everything. Whatever is left, that is your monthly profit. Divide that number by your take-home. That is your household profit margin. Express it as a percentage. For most couples who do this calculation for the first time, the number is somewhere between 2% and 8%. A 20% household profit margin is healthy. Below 10%, you are one unexpected expense away from disruption. Below 5%, you are running a fragile operation. That requires everything to go right every month. Sarah and I were at 5.2%. Once we saw that number, the conversation changed completely. Not a budget conversation, a margin conversation. What would it take to get from 5% to 15%? That question has a much simpler answer than most couples expect. But here is where it gets interesting. Because once you know the margin, you can find the holes. And the holes are almost never where couples expect them to be. The second move is find your margin killers. For most dual income couples, 2 or 3 items account for the majority of the margin gap. Not 20 items, 2 or 3. The most common margin killers, housing overshoot. The house that made sense when they bought it, sized for a life that hasn't fully arrived yet, in a neighborhood that added $400 a month to what they needed. Not irresponsible, just more than the margin can sustain. The vehicle math. 2 expensive leases, because that is what dual income couples at a certain income level are supposed to drive. Each lease feels manageable on its own. Together, they're often $1,400 to $2,000 a month. Payments, insurance, gap coverage, for vehicles that are depreciating assets they will never own. Lifestyle scaling. The subscriptions that grew with each raise. The grocery store that shifted from one to another without a decision. Each individual item seems fine. The aggregate is a hole in the bucket. For Sarah and me, 3 margin killers accounted for $1,640 a month. 2 expensive leases we had both convinced ourselves were reasonable. Together they were running $980 a month in payments and insurance. Housing that was running about $520 above what our actual life required. And subscriptions neither of us had audited in 2 years. $140 a month on services we had stopped using. We traded both leased vehicles in, bought 2 reliable used cars in cash, and cut the monthly cost from $980 to nothing in payments, and significantly lower insurance. We downsized the housing overshoot the following year. We spent one Saturday afternoon going through every subscription on both credit cards, canceled 11 of them. The total freed $1,640 a month. Not from a raise, from 3 conversations. One about the leases, one about the house, one about the subscriptions that we had been putting off for years. One conversation about each margin killer is worth more than 3 years of budgeting apps. Not because the conversation is easy, because it targets the right thing. Here is the kicker, because finding the holes is only the second move. The third one is the one that makes the fix permanent. The third and final move is set a margin target. Budgets fail. Almost everyone who has tried one knows this. Not because budgets are wrong, but because budgets require tracking every dollar, every month, perfectly, and life does not cooperate with perfection. The margin target is different. Instead of tracking every dollar that goes out, you agree on a single number. What percentage of your combined take-home will you keep each month? Set that number. Automate that amount into investment immediately when the paycheck lands. Everything else is the budget that runs itself. The margin target does not require discipline for every purchase. It requires one decision, made once, agreed to by both partners, automated. And because both people agreed to it, it has a social accountability that no budgeting app can replicate. When Sarah and I finally stopped trying to budget every category and started managing to a margin target, 20% automated on payday, the financial life simplified overnight. We stopped tracking. We stopped debating individual purchases. We just asked one question. Are we hitting the target this month? Almost always, yes. And when we didn't, we knew why. Let's run this forward with another couple, the Garcias. They live down the street. Similar income, similar stage of life, 2 kids, the same kind of household Sarah and I were running a few years ago. Right now, their margin is 5.2%, $410 a month going toward the future. At a standard 7% return over 10 years, $71,000. Over 20 years, $214,000. Now, picture the Garcias after addressing 2 margin killers and setting a margin target, $1,770 a month. Same income, same jobs, same house. They just plugged the holes and set a number. At 7% over 10 years, $306,000. Over 20 years, $922,000. The gap between those 2 versions of the Garcias' financial life is not the income, it is the margin. $235,000 more in 10 years, $708,000 more in 20 years. Not from a promotion, not from a side hustle, not from a windfall. From keeping a different percentage of the same money. This is why the U.S. savings rate matters more than almost any other financial statistic. The bottom 90% of earners save about 4% on average. The top 1% save about 38%. The gap between those 2 groups is not just income, it is margin. It is the number they keep. The income was not the variable. The margin was always the variable. Here is what I want you to take from this. You are not stuck because you spent too much. You are stuck because nobody ever showed you the number that actually matters. Not the income, the margin. Not the budget, the percentage you keep. That is not a spending problem. That is a structural misdiagnosis. And now you have the right diagnosis. The next raise is not the answer. The next raise will find the holes before you do, and the margin will stay the same. The answer is the margin itself, calculated, protected, agreed to by both of you, and automated before either of you can spend it. 3 moves this week. Calculate your household profit margin, find your 2 or 3 margin killers, set a margin target together. You do not need to earn more to start. You need to keep more of what you already have. And that decision starts tonight. If this changed how you think about your income, hit subscribe and drop a like. Every week we give couples one more thing to talk about tonight. And this is exactly the kind of thing we cover. You two have got this. Go talk about it tonight.